I'm hoping today is the day we get to that promised land of Serie A. It could happen with the very first game that we play today. Let's see how it goes. And here we are. We have Venezia away. And if results go our way in these other games, Salernitana in particular, who are playing later today, a few hours later, then we could actually be promoted. So we won't be promoted even if we win at the end of the game. That's the one thing to note. So we can't be promoted at the end of the game, but we could be promoted at the end of the day. And that would be pretty good and pretty exciting for sure. So, in terms of the team, we've got no Giliberti, which is a shame because he's been very, very good lately. And I think we'll bring in Glazer there. We can play Ponzi the other side. Nola is also going to have to step out the side for Straudi. Other than that, I think we're going to go with a pretty much unchanged side. We are in such good form at the moment. It's almost absurd. You can see here, Bolzan is having a time of his life, getting 22 goals. Easily the best goal-scoring season I've seen from a striker at this club. By some distance, in fact. And he's turning into a little bit of a legend. I am thinking about trying to sell him. Combination of his age, which is not bad, but in terms of selling him, might be towards the end of his significant sale price era, but also because that kind of money is quite hard to turn down. I don't think I'll quite get that much, but if I can get something close to $500,000, it would make a huge difference. And whilst being in Serie A is going to make a difference anyway, I do think we could probably find someone better than Bolzan for a little bit less money-wise. The wages probably will be more, to be fair. Because he's one of our not cheaper players, but less absurdly expensive ones. Because we have got a few at the moment who are on over 200,000, which at this level is probably too much, and that's why we're in financial problems. Which hopefully will be completely sorted if we get promoted, which we may well do today, of course. So we're in Venice for what might be the last game in any kind of real pressure. I'd obviously like to win the league, which we can't do today, but. If we were to go up and not win the league, it wouldn't be the end of the world. An automatic promotion is something we haven't done before, and that in itself would be an achievement. I would certainly have. I had no idea that I was going to be even close to getting promoted this year. I wasn't expecting it. Mid-table was what I was aiming for. I've said it before. I'll say it again. This was not in any way on the cards as far as I was concerned at the start of the season. But a few people have just massively outshone themselves. Meloni in particular, who's been brilliant. I can't get him to sign a new contract at the moment, which is a worry, because he's got 1 year left, but usually at that point you look to try and sell them. I suppose I probably take the risk that I can try and sign him up again. If I do lose him, it's the end of the world. His contributions this season have got us promoted, which will be more than the transfer fee that I would have got in terms of its worth to the club, so I can kind of be fairly happy to write that off. But obviously, if I can get him to sign on for another couple of years, through to when he's kind of surplus to requirements in terms of not quite being good enough anymore, then that would be ideal. And we've boxed them into their own half a little bit here. We've done well, won it back early, and Aiello gets the byline. Of course, can't quite find a Zaffarana head, but this time they have got past our press, and Agostini has to make a good save. As it stands currently, we are not quite promoted, and this is even if Salernitana do drop points, by the way. We need to get a win. Straudy again was offside. Ascoli are winning at the moment, so no matter what Salernitana do, we need to win this game to have any chance of being promoted today. Otherwise, Ascoli could also catch us in theory. Trinanzi, Straudy can't get the shot away. We are looking very, very threatening, though. This is pretty impressive. Can we keep that high press? This time they're getting a little bit more into our territory. Congia, Fasano. We are still standing pretty solid, though. Agostini has to make a fairly simple save there. Urbanski now to Fasano. Urbanski shoots, and Agostini makes another good save. He's been brilliant this season. He really has. Meloni is the best player we've had this season in terms of average rating, but for me, Agostini has saved us so many times. He's been absolutely outstanding. Even when we were playing badly, we had a bad run in the middle of the season where it looked like we were going to fall away, and he just did brilliantly. Even in games we lost, he was fantastic. Kept the score down, kept us in with a shout, even if we didn't actually end up winning because our outfield players were in such poor form. It'll be noted that even if we were to draw or even lose today, we're still in a pretty good position in terms of this title. We have got a little bit of room for error here. But obviously, a win would be nice to just make it all but certain. Great save, Agostini there. Jovic scoring for Vicenza. So they are keeping the pressure on. Level on points with us at the moment. But of course, Vicenza are not the team we're worried about currently. Oh, God. That's awful. Yes, he was offside. I mean, he was clearly offside. It was a question of whether he was actually interfering, and clearly the referee thought he was, which is good. But it doesn't look like we're going to get the goal that we need here. Let's see if we can make some quick substitutions. Cristiani can come on for Milani. Straudi for Boubacar Diaby. Now, can we get that last goal? Not quite the last goal, but a crucial goal. And look, we're still in a very good position if we don't get the goal here. Should be pointed out that there's no reason to panic, but it could just be a massive, massive missed opportunity. It also mean that we are very much leaving it down to luck as to whether we're going to win the league, which I've said, not huge, but I would like to do it. One of those days we didn't find the goal today, and we're now level on points with Salernitana. With Vicenza. Salernitana are obviously about to play, and Crotone as well. Crotone are the only other team that can catch us at the moment. I mean, and then them only just. I think they may even be playing Salernitana. Oh, we're playing them next. I totally forgot we're playing them next. Right, so we're probably in a place now where a draw in the next game is enough. Probably. I'm going to stick with it. Do this live, build up a bit of tension. So we will see what happens. Salernitana have lost, so if we'd won, we'd be promoted now. Goodness, that's frustrating. Oh look, it's very close. We are all but promoted. Yeah, it does mean. I mean, of course, because we're playing Salernitana in the next game, it does mean that we're going to need to. We may not be able to secure our promotion until the Spezia game, because Salernitana will not be an easy game by any means. A draw will clearly be enough, but that's what we need, and it won't be easy. Now, obviously, we're going to try and win it because, well, apart from anything else, it means that we will hopefully be able to get a league title. But a draw would be enough, and I would be perfectly happy with a draw. One of those games where what you want is a late 1-0. Just keep it tight, get a goal, avoid the fear of those last few minutes. But we do, of course, have an extra game after that with which we can secure that promotion slot. So it's not the end of the world, even if we were to lose this. So who are we up against? We've got Di Chiara against us, although it doesn't look like they think he's going to play, which is interesting. Bambi, obviously, up front. They're scoring a lot, but they're also conceding quite a lot. So I think the key thing here is to keep it tight and just hope that we've got enough quality up front that we will get a goal at some point. But keep it really, really tight at the back. I think I'll probably be playing with quite a cautious approach here. We obviously don't need to grab the goal, but if we do, it will make things a hell of a lot easier. I am obviously cutting a little bit just as we go, but not massively. Usually I would record separate videos for the previous game and the next game, but obviously I want to build the tension a little bit. I'm hoping that this is as exciting for you as it is for me. It's only taken me 10 years. Usually, I'm not great at these kind of games. It usually takes me ages if I ever do reach the top division. I think I've only done it once in a save like this. And it's good that I've managed to do it in only 10. I think I was expecting it to take a few more years than this. As I've said 100 times, I was never expecting promotion this year. But we are one game away, 1 point away, in fact. Hopefully, this next game, which is coming up any second now, we do get a point against Salernitana. Sorry, if we don't get a point against Salernitana, then it will be exciting, and not in a good way, in that last day. That will be horrible. Right, here we are, game day. Zaffarana, Salernitana. Vicenza playing Pisa. So in terms of the title, that's something to keep an eye on. In terms of promotion, it's not really relevant, because if we lose this, then it's kind of all down to the last day anyway, and it's not going to make a huge amount of difference whether Vicenza have won or not as far as the titles. As far as promotion is concerned, we are missing quite a lot of players at the moment, though. We're going to need to play with Tara at left back, which is far from ideal. No, I'm going to play Colucci there because he can do it better. Aiello can make way, can he? We've got anyone? Di Chio could probably just about play there. It's not ideal. Pelicano can make way for Diaby. You can see we've got real problems. I'm glad the season's ending because injuries and suspensions are stacking up big time at the moment. We've got Roller on the bench, but he ain't going to be coming on. Nowhere near fit enough after the long injury that he's had. I am going to be relying today. I said I wanted to keep it tight, but given the injuries we've got, I think I'm going to be relying on Bolzan and Tirinanzi to just get lots and lots of goals. I think I've changed my mind. Go positive, try and smash them, get 3 or 4 early goals, and just hope that we can hold out. I'm obviously being optimistic here, but I don't really see us holding them out for long with this defence. We've only really got 2 first choice defenders, and yeah, the other 2 are not what I would want in those positions. I would absolutely take a draw here. Not too bothered about champions. Just a draw, I would take it. But obviously we're going to try and win it. It goes without saying. Apart from anything else, if you try and get a draw, you're not going to get a draw. But on top of that, you also might as well try and win the league. It's not going to be a bad thing, is it? Agostini makes a very good save. He's been so good this year. I wish I could give him a special bonus for being such a key player, along with Meloni. But Agostini, for me, he's been even better. Doesn't get the credit he deserves. Some absolutely outstanding saves all through the season, almost every game. Tirinanzi's there. Ball from Meloni. Might be offside. No, it's awarded. Meloni, what a player this guy is. One of the best players for me we've had in this save, certainly this season. We've had some good wingers, but goodness me, he's been good. Meloni finds Di Chio. Would have been pretty much that, you would think. Vicenza are winning, so looks like it will probably go to the last. Well, I mean, it will go to the last day no matter what, won't it? But it will go down to the last day in terms of it being very, very close. Luka Jovic getting a goal. Is he surely about to retire, isn't he? 34, maybe not actually. Goodness me, though, what a player he's been at this level. Really struggled at every other level, but at this level, what a player. And that's at 34. Imagine what he'd been like a bit earlier. Bambi, great tackle there. Stops him in his tracks. We are an hour away from promotion, folks. 1 hour of football. Bolzan, can he get 2? It'd be nice to get that second goal and just make it a little bit more comfortable. Gio, couldn't quite find Bolzan. Bambi, and Bambi's equalised. Right. Well, we know a draw's enough, but really want them equalising before half time because it's going to make that second half really, really tight. So go into second place as it stands. Kiwior, great name, Kiwior. Half an hour to go, and it's going to be a very tense half hour unless we can get a goal soon. Oh, what a save! What a save from Agostini there. Gio crosses the ball. Strowley's nearly there. Looking like we might just about get over the line here, but there's a long way to go. It really would be nice to get a goal. Apart from anything else, Vicenza winning. We need to get a goal to keep us in with a good chance of the title. Don't really want to go into the last day knowing that we're going to need a big, big favour going our way. Tirinanzi now. That's them down to 10 men. Omar Rekic, former Arsenal players, just come onto the pitch. Meloni crosses the ball. Goal now would pretty much seal it, you would think. Plays with Diaby. Glazer again. Can we find a way through? Eventually, yes. Colucci, oh, what a waste. Not the player you want there. Having Colucci at left back is not ideal by any means. He is very much not a left back. He's been a very, very good centre back for me, but he's not a left back. Oh, I'm nervous. I'm really nervous. I think we'd win the last game. Tirinanzi's there. We've done it. We're going up and possibly as champions. Tirinanzi gets the goal that will hopefully get us promoted and get us very much in with a chance of winning that title on the last day. It'll be all that's necessary. I will still show you that, even though I don't particularly mind if we win the title or not. But as it stands, we are Serie A, folks. We've got 9 minutes to hold out. Oh no, it's Bambi. Bambi's done it again. Come in, Bambi. Should have just been shot, shouldn't he? I'm obviously kidding. Oh dear. Just as I was I thought we were there. Can we pull it out of the bag one more time? Stroudy can come off. He's knackered. Vignola can just about manage 6 minutes plus injury time. And Glazer is also knackered, so he can come off for... Yeah. Obviously, it's enough to see us promoted, of course. But it's not enough to give us a really good chance of winning the league in the next game. Aiello. Diaby. Pizzani. Renancy's there. Can't quite finish it. I'm going to go defensive now because there's no point in risking a promotion. Or at least securing of a promotion. I think we're there. I think we've done it. Bolzan. Bellucci. Yes! We are Serie A. We are Serie A. We are Serie A. We are Serie A. We've done it, guys. At least a year, perhaps 2 earlier than I was hoping or expecting. We've got promoted into Serie A. The game has obviously not picked that up here, but we have. We are promoted. I'm delighted. Serie A, folks. We've done it. That is such a good feeling to get this completely made up team promoted in 11 years. No, yes, 11 years. By my standards, that's quick. I know it's not quick by some. You know, you'll be watching streamers who do this in 2 years, do this in maybe 3, and if they do it in 4, they're disappointed. But for me, it's never been easy. This has been a difficult time, and obviously the fact that we are in such financial straits is kind of testament to that. That should sort itself out now, you would think, now that we've been promoted. I don't know quite what this is obviously suggesting that this is rather better than it was. So already I think they've factored in at least something to do with next season, but my guess is we will be in with, in fact, you can see we've already got £4 million, which to me is absurd amounts of money. Like, we've been most seasons we have 100 times less than that. So we've got just over 4 million of wage budget and just over 4 million of transfer budget. At the moment, we're spending under 2 million. So we have a lot of leeway now. We really do. Gioldi, really ecstatic. One of our absolute all-time legends, Gioldi. Unbelievable promotion. Lots of praise for me. Of course, I hope I'm a legend, given I'm the only manager this club has ever had. Favourite people, I'm not yet a legend or an icon, which is a shame. Antonio Magri must be the chairman. Gioldi is the only player actually who's made it onto there. That's interesting. And no rivalries. I'm sort of really hoping that we get a rivalry with Palermo. That clearly didn't happen. The other great thing, of course, is that this is our first season at a new stadium, and we've got promoted in that season. So that really is something, isn't it? Vindication for the board for doing it, actually. I wasn't really expecting them to do it as soon as they did. Thought I'd have to wait at least another couple of years. I was thinking I'd probably have to wait until Serie A. I'm glad I didn't, because this gives us a chance of maybe building another stadium before the end of the save. Because let's face it, I think to really compete in Europe, we're probably going to need a bigger stadium. What I don't know is whether there's significant scope to expand the stadium. If you look at the capacity, 12,000, that's not really Serie A level, and it's certainly not Champions League level. In fact, I would have thought if something absurd was to happen, we'd get into the Champions League next season, which we won't. But if we were, I'm pretty sure we wouldn't be allowed to play at Zaffarana Stadium. 99% sure of that. So that's something to think about in the future, when we can start thinking about expanding that stadium and improving it, which seems bizarre, less than a year after it was built, but that's the way it works, isn't it? We've won one Lega Pro. We could still win a league title this season, although it's unlikely because Vicenza did actually win in the end. And it's just a case of, we've done what I meant to do this season, and more than I meant to do. I will do the Spezia game just in case we win the league, but I'm not really expecting it. We'll just go through a fair few of the results and the attendances and so on. Another record, we've broken attendance records quite a lot at the back end of this season as we sort of pushed for that title win. So 379 extra people compared to that game against Lecce, which, as you can see, was only a couple of weeks ago. It's probably the last home game, I imagine. £110,000 for that record too, and that's a lot of money for this club. It really is. And it's still kind of sinking in because I really wasn't expecting it. Wow. So for this last game, look, if I had a cup final or something, I'd be resting everyone because I don't care enough about winning the league. But given that we've got, you know, no other games left and a huge number of these players won't play for us again, I don't really see any point in resting anyone, to be honest. I feel great for Colucci. Been at the club for quite a long time. Been one of our best players in at least a couple of those years. Those 2 years where he had where we got promotions, both promotion years, he was brilliant. I have a feeling that even though he's been better this year, I just think Serie A might be beyond him. So he may be more of a kind of squad player next season, if that. But I mean, I'm just really pleased for him. And Rollo's still here as well. I know he hasn't been a huge player for us this year. He's only played 16 times, but he's obviously a player who I have such an affinity for. I thought he was going to be better than he was. Of course, I did. But wow, I'm glad he was here for that. I'm glad. And Vignola, another youngster, he's played a bit of a part in that as well. I think he could be a player who will eventually, maybe not straight away, but eventually be a very good Serie A player. Still only 18. We do, of course, have a couple more youngsters coming in. Silvio Caba coming in at centre-back. We've got a left winger in Tedesco coming in. All of these youngsters really just to try and get that wage bill done, we don't actually have to worry about now. This was all done really with the idea that we were going to be staying in Serie B. Borbone is going off to Rocella. I'd say that, I'm sure he's mine, but he is mine. And then Domenico Tutolo coming in up front. There's some youngsters who can hopefully develop into really good players. But I think we now need to be setting our sights a bit higher, getting a few players who are really Serie A quality. With that huge amount of money by our standards, of course. Massive amount of money. So yeah, really, really pleased. I still, as I say, still hasn't really sunk in much. We can also get a few more staff to think about for next year, sure. I mean, this has to be Agostini, right? It just has to be. It's been brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Meloni, he's not quite going to get that record. He's going to need a hat-trick of assists to even equal it, so that's not going to happen. But, you know, he's got 11 goals as well. Fantastic player for us this year. And I'm glad that Gioldi keeps his record as well, because he was a real legend in the earlier years. Let's try and win this last game. You know, to sign off it on a high after the first season of the new stadium and promotion. Let's go and show them what we're about, and hopefully we'll lift a trophy for the first time. Well, significant trophy. We won the Lega Pro, but you know, this will be the first significant trophy. Right, and here we go. So Vicenza are playing Regina, so it's a tough game for them, harder than for us. Should be interesting. We're underway here at Spezia. Vicenza, already winning with a goal from Luka Jovic, so that means this game is completely irrelevant unless that changes. I really am not too bothered. Yeah, it would be nice, but I don't think it's going to happen. Goodness me, I feel relaxed. After the tension of that last game, with promotion on the line. We scored and I don't even care. It's disallowed anyway. He's miles off. Oh, yes. We're being battered here. I think we might go down to a fairly significant defeat. And I don't care. Tirinenzi can't quite get the shot on target there. He's been better than I was expecting, Tirinenzi. He's done a good job. Luka Jovic, he seems to score a lot of early goals, like first or second minute. Sadly, I don't think I'm going to have a chance in this stage to sign a player I know. I don't really see anyone I could get at this point who I would know of. And if I do, it will be someone like very obscure, like a current youth Arsenal player or something. Hopefully our last ever game in Serie B, of course, this. Hoping we won't get relegated. I don't think it'll be an easy season next season, but we've got hope that we're going to go into next season and hold our own, do well. We'll try and be a bit careful with budgets next year. I want to make sure that we don't. What I want to make sure is that we are making money at the end of next season, so that our financial position is getting better every month. Because I don't want to risk sort of blowing it all and then getting relegated, because then we've got to start again. If I get relegated having been careful, then we should get another promotion easily. We'll win the league by a mile if we do that. Particularly with a couple of young players who we've got in who hopefully will by then be bossing it in terms of Serie B level. Don't see many of them being Serie A standard, at least not top Serie A standard, but in Serie B they would dominate. Tirinanzi is there. We've got the goal. A really good player in the last part of the season. He's done some really, really good things for me. Juventus under 23s are bowing out with a whimper. Just 12 points all season. We'll be up against real Juventus next year, of course. Played against Juventus of any sort for the first time this year, and next year we'll play against their first team. Exciting. Hopefully avoid getting absolutely trounced. Ponzi, Meloni, Tirinanzi's there, 2-0. And the last day win is assured. Sadly, it will be irrelevant, I think. Yes, with Vicenza winning 4-0, I would say that is irrelevant. But it does mean that we've finished very, very easily in second. It's not even really been close with Crotone. For a long time, it was Salernitana, wasn't it? Crotone the closest, but 6 points behind us. It's not really even close. 75 points in Serie B. It's quite something. We only got more than that once in Serie C. It's lucky though. I mean, you think we actually got relegated with 40 points in the 7th season from this league, and then 2 years later we came up. 3 years later, having already been up for one, we got 33 points and managed to stay up. That was lucky. I mean, we won a relegation playoff, but still, very, very lucky to survive that. And goodness me, was it worth it? Pain of last year where we were so close to relegation, and now we've turned it around in one season and somehow managed to get ourselves promoted. I don't quite know how I've done it. I was not expecting it. I didn't think that the team was as bad as we were last year. I didn't think we should have been finishing 16th, 17th, or whatever it was. But for us to go from 16th, 17th to finishing second, getting promoted, wow, I really, really was not expecting it. And all I can do now is say, wow, and hope that we can do well enough next season that we can stay in Serie A. 2.6 million, which takes us out of debt, does it? So close. Yes, it does take us out of debt, so that's good. For the first time, we are not in debt. First time in a long time. 4 years, is it? Nearly 4 years. No longer in debt. Whether we can keep it that way for long, I doubt. We will get some more income from Serie A, but I don't know whether we'll be able to stay there for long. Let's just go on to a bit of a season review, and then we will leave it there, and I will do a proper full-on season review with the next video. Bolzan into the best 11. I completely 100% deserved. He had to get in it. I think now our top scorer of all time, certainly as far as this is concerned, and I think he probably is. Let me check that. I can check that now. How many goals has he got? Do you know he isn't actually. Gioldi is. Oh, okay. But he will be the top scoring striker. That's certainly true. I'm pretty sure. Let me just check. But yes, he's actually the second top goal scorer. Gioldi is the only player in our history who's scored more goals than him. There it is, 61. You can see there. I make it 62, in fact. But there are always anomalies like that. But yeah, what a player! What a player! Castellucci is very much a striker. I'm not quite sure why he's up there. Rolla, obviously, legend, absolute legend. Francesco Rolla. This might be it for him. But what a legend! Just so many players here I'm really, really fond of. We're going to leave behind in Serie B. Castellucci might be able to make the step up. Looking at that, no, he's not. Change that. But yeah, there's one of those players here who, a long time ago, Jacopo Pellegrini, he's now a director of football, but he was really good for me for a couple of years. Yeah, it was the tail end of his career, although he went on for a long while after that. Gildi obviously doing well. There are a few players who probably should be here by now who aren't. I mean, I feel like Meloni's season this year could have justified getting into it alone. It's been fantastic. And then as for Agostini, for me, player of the season, without a huge amount of doubt, to be honest. What a signing. 30 grand. You could sell him now for about 250 minimum. We won't. I think he will be my Serie A keeper, at least for the start. Yeah, what a player. So, in terms of best 11, you can see quite a few of them have retired. Six of them retired. Riella still playing. Oh, I liked Riella. Kept getting sent off, but I did like him. Barely played for Seregno until this season. That's interesting. Kikiara, obviously, we only ever had him on loan, in fact, I think. So, yeah, he's only just moved to Salernitana from Roma, where he was a trainee. He's done very well, actually, at Salernitana. I thought he would. I don't think he's quite the kind of player I want to be chasing for Serie A, but he's done very well. So, a quick look at the season review. Tirinanzi and Agostini, absolutely super signings. Usually when I spend money, it's a bit... Usually my best players have been free transfers, but these two are big exceptions, particularly Tirinanzi in terms of the fact that we paid a lot of money for him by our standards, and he's done brilliantly. 84,000 for a loan is a hell of a lot, the more I think about it. But was it worth it? And obviously Agostini, absolutely fantastic signing. Ponce did okay, better than I thought he would, to be honest. I thought he was very much a backup, but he's actually been one of my best players. Pelicano, not as sure about, to be honest. Yishar, he's one of those players, like, if I'd signed him on permanently, it would be great, but signing him on loan was a bit silly, thinking about it now. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to sign him permanently, unfortunately. In the future, he'll be great, but he's not ready. And Cristiani didn't work out at all. I took a bit of a punt on him. I didn't know exactly what his attributes were, but I needed to get someone in, and it just didn't really work. In terms of the outs, Sommer did really well at Offenbach. Goodness me. I mean, I know it's a lower division, quite a bit lower, actually. So that probably explains it to some extent, but I didn't really see him doing that well at any level, really. He wasn't very good for me. But yeah, to get £105,000 for him was great. Calzola, what a deal we've done here. Piacenza, signed him for almost 200,000 and he's done very little. Great bit of business there we did. Making almost £100,000 profit. Results-wise, well, we expected to avoid a relegation battle. We more than did that. Bolzan got 20 goals. First person to do it, I think. Obviously an A+, goes without saying. We're on a very long unbeaten run as well. We haven't lost since the 24th of January. That awful run we had in the middle of the season. If you look at our season, we didn't lose until the 8th of November. And we didn't lose after the 24th of January. We just had that awful relegation form. That form would get you relegated. But either side of that, we were incredible. And that was enough. And then we lost to Delfino Pescara in the Coppa, which I wasn't too bothered about, to be honest. 6-1 win against Cesena, which is big. And beating the eventual champions 3-0. I'd forgotten we did that. Because they kind of came out of nowhere. They didn't look like they were going to be our main rivals for most of the season. But they sort of, by the end of the season, they recovered from that clearly. Sponsorship, obviously that will go up. Broadcast revenue even more, you would hope. Prize money up hugely. And the matchday commercial obviously up a lot as well. And all will be to do with the stadium. Corporate hospitality ditto. Yeah, so you can see that the stadium has made a big effect here. Broadcast revenue's gone down, but obviously that will go back up with Serie A. That's the team of our year. Someone didn't play 25 times for me. Yeah, that's there. Yeah, it's taken his Offenbach stats and put him into our team of the year. He was awful for me. He did play a fair bit, but he was awful. So that's just a mistake. We played more or less a 4-4-2 by the end of the season. Meloni, fantastic though. Agostini, fantastic. Bolzan did okay. We would have liked a little bit more than 22 goals, I think, in an ideal world from a player who was clearly very, very good. That's some pretty high stats. That's some pretty high attributes. And his ability is just better and better and better and better as well. It's good to see that he's actually making real progress with us. And I think he's another player who can do a job for me in Serie A. Right, they obviously think we're going to get relegated easily, which is a bit sad. Luckily, I'm going to be replacing a whole load of them anyway. Where do we want to go? I'm just tempted to say in Sicily. Maybe go further afield. Let's go to Lombardia. Right, I think we're going to leave it there. I will obviously do a more detailed deep dive into the squad in the next video. But it's been a great season. Promotion is ours. And Serie A, we'll see you next season. Bye for now.